So let's talk a little bit about Ukraine. So you have what? 30% of Ukraine are Russian speakers. 30%, but 67% of Ukrainians speak Ukrainian. And then of those 30%, 17% are ethnic Russians. So yeah, you got a small minority that speak Russian. They don't think of themselves as Russians. Only half of those think of themselves as Russians. So ultimately, what does that mean? That means Ukraine is not Russia, and Russia is not Ukraine. The greatest generation, the whole point of the United Nations was to stop one nation from invading another nation. I was opposed to the U.S. invasion of Iraq. I was opposed to the coup d'etat attempt in Venezuela. I don't, approve of the coup d'etat in Haiti. But when it comes to the defense of the national sovereignty of Ukraine, I'm all for it. I'm all for me, myself, and I fighting for the national sovereignty of Ukraine. Now, who should do it and in what style and what respect, I don't know. But Russia shouldn't be allowed to invade Ukraine. U.S. shouldn't be allowed to invade. China shouldn't be allowed to invade Ukraine. South Africa shouldn't be allowed to invade Zimbabwe. Mozambique shouldn't be allowed to invade Ethiopia. Now, there's some places on the map like Ambazonia in Cameroon. You got West Africa, the northwest region, southwest region of Cameroon. So Ambazonia, there's some disputed borders. There's some disputed borders around the world. So, but for the most part, the map of Europe is, pretty intact. I don't know what the hell is going on in the Balkans and Yugoslavia. But when it comes to Europe and all those countries over there, apparently the NATO wasn't supposed to go past Germany. And since they went past Germany, Putin is getting all scared. Putin's been a fucking dictator for 200 years. I'm on the side of Pussy Riot. I'm on the side of Femen. Pussy Riot, they went to jail for years because of that fucking dictator. They don't have real democracy. What they were doing to Navalny, he was a political prisoner for a year. But Ina Shevchenko, Femen, Ukraine, those gorgeous Ukrainian women, yeah, I'd fight and die for Ukraine's national sovereignty. Again, in terms of how that looks, specifically, should it be NATO? Should it be the United Nations? Should it be the U.S.? I don't know, but it should be somebody. It should be somebody. So, yeah, Russia, they can go ahead and, build their stuff up along the border. That's okay. It's their border, right? But they can't cross. So, I would fight and die for Estonia and Latvia and Lithuania and Belarus, Romania and Bulgaria, Greece and Turkey. I like the map. It seems Poland, Germany, Czech Republic, UK, Ireland, Spain, Portugal, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia. I like the map of the world. The map of the world, it works for me. So Putin is, a smart cookie. He once said something about you have to enforce your own sovereignty. That's the thing about sovereignty is, okay, Niger and Chad and Sudan, you can claim you're your own countries, but when Russia invades your countries and you're not able to kick them out, well, what the hell did your sovereignty even mean? So people have to be able to defend themselves, and they might have to have a superpower or two in order to help them out. So that's what I think about Ukraine. Ukraine is not Russia. It hasn't been Russia for a long-ass time. There's only 17% of the people in Ukraine that would consider themselves Russian. And, look at Hitler. Look at Hitler. I know people say that's a trope and a cliche. It's not a trope and a cliche. My anti-imperialism principles are intact. I am anti-imperialist through and through. That's why I don't want Russia to invade Ukraine, because I'm against imperialism. I don't want China expanding their borders, Russia expanding their borders. I don't want India to try to take over Pakistan. And I don't want Australia to try to take over Papua New Guinea. And I don't want Malawi to try to take over Madagascar, or Argentina to try to take over Bolivia and Brazil. Peru, you got your borders. Ecuador, Colombia, you got your borders. Mexico, Canada, Greenland. And so if any other nation tries to steal Iceland, then I would fight and defend Iceland. Let's talk about Hitler. What did Hitler do? Well, he killed 10 million people for no goddamn reason, but when did we know that he was, pulling some shit? Well, he's going to take over Austria. Austria is going to be the first. Well, actually, he's going to do military conscription. And so that's expanding the German army to more than 500,000 men. And then 1936. So in 1935, he's building an army. In 1936, he demilitarized the Rhineland. Germany shared its borders with France and Belgium. Demilitarized the Rhineland. The Rhineland was in between Germany, France, and Belgium. And Hitler just went and took the Rhineland in 1936. Here's a picture with a bunch of Rhineland assholes giving the salute, the Nazi salute. After a prolonged period of intense propaganda inside of Austria, German troops entered the country on March 12th, 1938. So it's like, okay, he stole Rhineland, maybe from France and Belgium. But what more is he going to do? Oh shit, he just took Austria. So 1936 took the Rhineland. 1938, he just marched into Austria. To enthusiastic support of most of the population. They're like, hell yeah! These fucking pieces of shit have invaded our country. Austria was incorporated into Germany the following day. In April, this German annexation was retroactively approved in a plebiscite that was manipulated to indicate that about 99% of the Austrian people wanted the union with Germany. Neither Jews nor Roma gypsies were permitted to vote in the plebiscite. Okay, that's a little weird. We're all going to vote except for the gypsies and the Jews. Why just those? What about these criminal? They could vote. Okay, and then what's he going to do? Well, in 1938, he's going to take the Sudetenland. This is a border area of Czechoslovakia, right? So he's just pushing and pushing. He's expanding. He's clearly an imperialist. Motherfucker wants to take over the goddamn world. So he went ahead and took the Rhineland. Then he went ahead and took Austria. Now he's talking about taking the Sudetenlands, which is an area of the Czechoslovakia. But once he takes the Sudetenlands, then the Bohemia and Moravia become a German protectorate in 1939. So they took the Sudetenlands, and then they just took Bohemia itself. Then Slovakia and Czechoslovakia, the other half was annexed by Hungary. So there's this huge thing. He was going to take the Sudetenlands. The leaders of Britain, France, Italy, and Germany held a conference in Munich, Germany, September 29th to 30, 1938. That was the big capitulation of what was that prime minister? He had a piece of paper, and he was like, there will be peace in our times, because he signed an agreement with Hitler. And the whole point was, okay, you could take the Sudetenlands, but you cannot go no farther. And Britain and France actually put pressure on Czechoslovakia to let the Nazis take the Sudetenlands. But then he's going to violate the Munich Agreement in 1939, moves against the Czechoslovak state. The Czech provinces of Bohemia and Moravia were German protectorate, and Hungary annexed the rest of it. And then, a little more than a week later, German troops occupied Memel. Lithuania was unable to prevent this occupation. Hitler also raised territorial demands on Poland in the spring of 1939. He demanded the annexation of the free city of Danzig to Germany and extraterritorial access for Germany through the so-called Polish corridor to East Prussia. Convinced that Hitler would not negotiate in good faith, Britain and France guaranteed the integrity of Polish territory against German aggression. With Hitler determined to attack Poland, Europe was on the brink of war in late summer 1939. Putin already took Crimea. Putin was already in Georgia. So he's trying to take Georgia. He already took Crimea, right? So that's like the free city of Danzig. So they're trying to take these little tiny border areas, but once they take the border areas, then they use that border area to take over the rest of the country. Hitler took over the Rhineland. He took over Austria. And then he took over Sudetenland. And then they said, okay, that's enough. No farther. It's okay that you took those. It's okay that you expanded your country. And then he takes Memel. And what is Memel? The capital of Lithuania or something? It's a city in Lithuania on the Baltic Sea coast. He's going to take Memel, and then when he tried to take the free city of Danzig, that's when the world said, fuck you, motherfucker. So, the point of that is, it started out with the Rhineland, and then it started out with Austria. Then he took a whole damn country. Is Putin, there yet? He was trying to take Georgia. And then with the Ukraine thing, apparently there's like 2 territories in Ukraine, so that's like the Sudetenland. And then what? Sign a damn agreement with Putin and then say, peace in our time. And then he'll take over Lithuania, then he'll take over Poland. So somebody should have stopped. Hitler was pretty much clear in his aims and objectives, straight from the beginning. In 1935, when he was, conscripting soldiers, and then 1936, when he took over the Rhineland. And then it's going to take 3 more years before people are like, okay, enough is enough. So is that what we're supposed to do? Wait 3 more years after Putin takes over Ukraine and then Lithuania, and then when he tries to take over the free city of Danzig? And that's what World War II was all. Man, Danzig better be the best goddamn city in the fucking world. But to fight for Kiev, to fight for Ukraine, like I said, Ukraine is Ukrainian. They speak Ukrainian. They have a Ukrainian culture. Let's just get some picture of Femen. Their women are badass warriors. They know how to protest. They know how to protest. They know how to fight for justice and for rights. They know how to make a stink. Wherever Ina Shevchenko is, that's where I'm at. So you have a whole bunch of, pictures. Here's one picture from Femen, the Ukrainian protest group. Yeah, stop Putin's war. I'll fight for you. Stop Putin's war. Very dramatic. May fascist do something, rest in hell. Look at that. So the Femen protest group are some freaking badasses. The Femen protest group are freaking badasses. Anyways. And they wouldn't even have to be. In order to defend themselves, they don't have to be badasses. But they are. Which makes me love Ukraine that much more. So yeah, I'm anti-imperialist. So when the United States tries to take over, Venezuela, what other countries is the United States trying to take over? The fucking bullshit, goddamn bullshit in Yemen, the genocide in Yemen, our relationship with Saudi Arabia is fucking terrible. So yeah, I can't stand that shit that's happening in Yemen. So I'm not sure if U.S. imperialism is the answer. The United Nations can't be because Russia has a veto. So it would have to be NATO, probably. Or maybe just a collection of independent countries that just love the national, fighting and defending the national sovereignty of another nation state. Especially if they're working, especially if it's not a corrupt nation state, the people are happy, the economy's working. We're all talking about Putin, so maybe that's the point. But are we going to wait for him to cross the line and then say, okay, now we need to do something? I think it makes sense to, you know, to at least let it cross your mind. If Putin goes into Ukraine, do you think that's something that the United States should get into? And if not, does that mean Russia is the brand new superpower and we're just going to let them take whatever? We're just going to let them be the new Nazis?